You know, just when I keep thinking that Baldur's Gate 3 has absolutely peaked, it somehow keeps peaking higher. This is a game that garnered just overwhelmingly positive accolades from users and critics alike. I don't think this has ever dropped below overwhelmingly positive in the time that I've seen this on Steam. It's got 96% overall, recent reviews at 97. If you go to Metacritic right now, you'll find a universal acclaim score of 96% from 119 critic reviews, universal acclaim from users on Metacritic as well. Everyone is in agreement that this is one of the most amazing games to ever grace us in the history of gaming, and people keep coming back. Not only did this game peak at over 875,000 players at its highest, we're also seeing tens of thousands of people continue to return. We're talking about high quintuple digits, and not only is it because this game is just so freaking vast and expansive and so replayable, it's also the level of support that the developers have been showing towards this game, and nothing is more emblematic of that than this upcoming patch that adds so many new features. While Baldur's Gate 3 developer Larian did say that they're not going to do expansions for the game because they believe that they've crafted a complete product and they want to move on to new ventures, which is a decision that I respect. They're not trying to milk the shit out of this. They're just saying, hey, our work is done. It's time to move on. But despite all that, they've continuously released all these updates that have really transformed the game, and all of this stuff has been free. And it's just the gift that keeps on giving. It's stuff that maybe other AAA companies might charge for, might try to squeeze more money out of you for. Instead, they're just saying, hey, we just want to keep giving you more stuff because they're just grateful for the support that they've gotten. They've succeeded more than enough with this title. And I mean, this has been just overall a really collaborative development environment as far as Baldur's Gate 3 is concerned, with it doing, the early access that got a lot of community feedback that allow this game to become what it has become. And just them taking even more feedback and not only implementing new features that people have been asking for, but going even above and beyond that, especially with this latest patch, is just really awesome to see. So this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a blog post that details Baldur's Gate 3's patch 8, which means that yes, there have been 7 other major patches before this, which have either fixed a lot of issues or added a bunch of new features to the game. But this one patch right here just seems really special. On top of the fact that they touted how the modding scene for the game has been going fantastically, with over 3,000 mods already up and running and over 70 million mods having been downloaded, including a spell to turn your enemies into cheese, because it's Baldur's Gate, it's D&D, silliness is part of it. This patch right here adds so much new stuff, starting with crossplay. Crossplay has been a highly kind of coveted feature for a game whose multiplayer kind of element is so fleshed out and allows for just such a neat cooperative experience where multiple players get to form a D&D party and share in the vast storytelling, the expansive storytelling that this game has to offer. So now, whether you are a PS5 player or PC player or a Mac player or Xbox, you can play across all of those platforms, and that's just going to unite the entire Baldur's Gate 3 community under one banner, and that's freaking awesome. As awesome as protecting your personal data from nefarious third-party entities. Which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, DeleteMe, a subscription service dedicated to keeping your personal information private and safe. Data brokers are constantly out there trying to profit off of selling your personal data to nefarious actors, so it is more important than ever to be proactive about your digital footprint, and that's where DeleteMe comes in. With this service, in one fell swoop, you can delete your personal information from search results and hundreds of data broker websites. Everything from your name, age, past and present addresses, photos, email, phone numbers, relatives, social media, occupation, marital status, property value, you name it. Information that could be used in shady ways. I didn't realize just how public my data was until I saw my first report from DeleteMe detailing just how many data broker websites had my personal information. And with data showing that during election cycles, threatening online behavior that is politically motivated peaks, and with data showing that the volume of personal information has tripled between 2019 and 2023, and all that information being so cheap and readily available, having a service like DeleteMe to do a big sweep is pretty convenient. I also have the security of knowing that DeleteMe is constantly active, monitoring sites and removing data as needed, and providing privacy reports every 3 months to keep me in the know about all that stuff. You can even make your own custom requests to have your information removed from specific sources by DeleteMe's experts. So if digital privacy is a top priority for you, you can protect your data with DeleteMe by using my link, joindeleteme.com/Yong20 and my code Yong20 to get 20% off at checkout, with family plans available as well. You can also find all of this in the description and comment section below. Next, you got subclasses. This one is completely unexpected. So Dungeons & Dragons classes have numerous subclasses, and they've already implemented a bunch of them into the game, but they're adding even more, one per class. So the Bard gets the College of Glamour, Barbarian gets Path of Giants, Cleric gets the Death Domain, Druid gets Circle of Stars, Paladin, Oath of the Crown, Fighter, Arcane Archer. You get the Monk's Drunken Master, the Ranger's Swarm Keeper, the Rogue's Swashbuckler. I remember playing Swashbuckler as a D&D player, so that's going to be fun to revisit that. The Sorcerer gets Shadow Magic, the Warlock gets Hexblade, and Wizard gets Blade Singing. And we got some gifts here that highlight some sample gameplay of some of these additional elements, the inclusion of these subclasses that really add a whole lot of content to the game. As if this game wasn't replayable enough already, this is just going to add an extra layer on top of that that's going to take the gameplay to the next level. Like, this really is a love letter to Dungeons & Dragons players who wanted to see it in video game form at this scale, at this level of ambition, at this level of really realizing the D&D kind of expansive gameplay and freedom into a video game format. They've really gone above and beyond here. And then we've got the addition of photo mode. People just love photo mode because it allows them to express themselves. It allows them to show off their favorite characters and the environments that they have been inhabiting in a really just creative way. And you can see just how expansive they've made this with all these poses that take these characters and allow them to kind of express themselves in silly and badass ways, and they really have gone all out with the features here. Photo mode is nothing new per se, but the addition of it is always welcome, especially in an RPG as expansive as this. Beyond the poses and all of the different camera settings, you've got post-processing effects, you've got various like frames and letterboxing, stickers, and you name it that you can apply to all of the photos you take through photo mode. And because they have always emphasized this participation with the community, they're hosting a patch 8 stress test so that players can test out these features early, provide feedback, or detect any issues, and that way they can launch the patch in the best state possible. Again, the collaborative nature of this game and its development continues to be at the heart of why this game has become so successful, because they really listen to the community, and they really kind of leverage the community's willingness to test their products and their desire to ensure this game continues its role and its streak. And so to see it come this far and to see it now release patch 8 and it be such a substantial one is very pleasing indeed. And it goes to show why this game has been nominated for Best Community Support. Between this and No Man's Sky, I mean, it's got to be one of those two, right? Both of these games have done a stellar job. Baldur's Gate 3 feels a bit like No Man's Sky, except if it didn't have a rough launcher, I mean. And sure, it's not going to get the level of expansions that No Man's Sky has gotten, but the substantial additions that didn't need to be given away for free, or that didn't need to be made at all, this game would have still been considered a masterpiece. But the fact that they're just going out of their way to do it anyway because they just have that love for the product that they crafted and for the community that have supported them, this is how you do it. This is how you craft a successful reputation, a positive reputation, garner goodwill, and make products that end up selling as successfully as Baldur's Gate 3 has. And to highlight just how far this game has come since launch, and its launch is already pretty epic, look at all of these updates that they have provided on the official website. You've got patch 1 right here. The highlights include just a number of fixed elements. A lot of the earlier patches focus on fixing some stuff that people have noticed. Given how expansive and vast this game is, it was bound to be imperfect, but they listened to folks, to the community, and they really offered tons and tons of fixes. I mean, you can keep scrolling down here. You can see what a vast list this first patch is. They got on this stuff really, really fast. We got patch 2 here. We've got some highlights, how they introduced Wither's Wardrobe of Wayward Friends. You can now dismiss co-op party members from your campaign. You've got performance optimizations across the board, and they also reduced the file size of save games. They added some elements like bring an additional scene to conclude the ending in which Karlach decides to travel to Avernus. So they added some new content as well, but also alongside that, a lot of fixes were kind of emphasized here. And the game, again, has just really come a long way on a technical level since launch. Next up, we got patch 3 here, which added full support for Mac, further expanding the player base on PC. And they also added a magic mirror that lets you change your appearance. So they basically implemented transmog on top of the fact that they enhanced aspects of combat. They enhanced elements of the PS5 version of the game, improved performance, and fixed a bunch of stuff, or added new elements and quality of life features to further enhance this experience. This is also one of those super expansive patches, as you can see, and just how detailed the patch notes are, how the communication has never broken down with the community, how transparent they've always been, has given them tons of points. Next up, we got patch 4 here, which added elements like being able to dismiss dead avatars to Wither's Wardrobe. You can also now customize hirelings' appearance when recruiting them. There's a colorblind mode, adding further accessibility to the game, and they added an option to use AMD's FSR version 2.2 as an upscaler of choice, enabling improved visual quality and performance. Awesome stuff. And then alongside that, again, look at the list of fixes, how detailed this all is, how transparent and communicative this all is, and just how expansively they've been working to ensure that this game really is in the best state possible when they're ready to completely move on and tackle whatever their next project might be, which I'm certainly very excited for. And then with patch 5, for free, they decided to give players just an entirely new section in the form of an epilogue at the end of the game after the defeat of the Netherbrain that aims to provide a well-deserved sense of closure with your allies. Beyond that, you've got 2 new play modes, Honor Mode being essentially permadeath mode, where if you are party wiped, then that's it for that save, and then Custom Mode, which allows you to essentially customize your playthrough and its features and its various elements so that you can tailor your playthrough to exactly what your play style is. A lot of performance improvements, particularly in Act 3, dynamic resolution on PlayStation 5, so just a lot of elements that improve performance, new language, added Korean language to the game, and then while at camp, you can now access and manage inventories of companions who aren't in your active party. Just a really great quality of life enhancement. Added a brand new fight, so just more new content. Orin's outfit now drops as loot and is wearable by anyone. We also gave it suitably disgusting description and name, so just a lot of neat little additions. So every patch, aside from just the list of fixes being substantial, this is also one with a substantial list of fixes. The feature set additions just kept getting better and better and better. Patch 6 did something neat here where they took the romance aspect of the game and just added more nuance to it by giving all of the different characters their own kissing animation, which is a small thing, but when a game like this emphasizes romance so much, just adding those little nuances really helps in immersing you in the world and really ensuring that these characters feel believable and like individuals. They also added just new camp animations and improvements just to bring the camp further to life. They also decided to improve some of the scenes after defeating the Netherbrain just to give those scenes that level of intimacy that they deserve. And they just made improvements to make the cutscenes and the series of events based on your romantic decisions just kind of flow better. Just, again, like little things that other companies would have left alone, they decided to really fine-tune to a T. They even added little details like Shadowheart reacting to you with different dialogue based on what your relationship is like with her if you sit on the stool in Shadowheart's camp corner. And then beyond that, just tons and tons and tons of fixes. Once again, this is me scrolling down, and even when I scroll down fast, just how vast this list is pretty ridiculous. And then that brings us to patch 7, the one before the upcoming 8, that added what so many people have been waiting for: mod support. Modding has been a huge part of why, say, Bethesda's games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout have had the longevity that they've had, despite being a single-player game, despite not being a live service, because there's just essentially new user-created content, community-created content coming to the game every day that makes the game just consistently feel fresh and new. So the implementation of a mod manager, modding tools, all of that is just going to ensure that Baldur's Gate 3 has just a similar long-term tail, which is utterly fantastic. But also crazy is the content additions, like the implementation of 13 new cinematics that offer varying conclusions to your most evil playthroughs. So you just added a bunch of just additional content for those who like to be dicks, for those who want to go that route, and rewards those players for, just essentially choosing their path and role-playing this other side of, who a hero can become. That's the wonderful thing about Baldur's Gate 3, is where your actions really do feel like they have consequences, and it really feels like you can take so many different paths that are on extreme opposite ends of the, good or evil spectrum. They even did things like enhancing the split screen gameplay so that the two halves of the split screen do join together when you're close enough where you essentially don't need the split screen cameras, and the second you start walking away from each other, then the game dynamically splits the screen in two so that you can see what both players are doing. But when they're together, it's essentially one big screen. So the fact that it dynamically does that is just kind of a really neat feature. On top of the honor mode combat receiving some new additions, such as certain boss battles having new legendary actions that make this mode just that much more difficult, on top of all the quality of life improvements and fixes to just about every facet and aspect of the game. Again, the fact that every patch note is this detailed and this huge really highlights how much fine-tuning they've been doing over the months that this game has been out. And then finally, patch 8 is detailed in this blog post. It's not out yet, but in community update number 30, you get to get a sneak peek at all of those amazing features that I detailed previously that is just so far above and beyond what I expected from this game that already felt so complete. I thought they were just going to fix the technical issues and add some neat features here and there, and that would be it, but this is so far above and beyond what they needed to do. This is not necessary for this game's status and its place in gaming history to be as positive as it already is. But the fact that they're just going even further and really understanding that how this game is so special to a lot of players, and really respecting that aspect and kind of giving this game the send-off that it deserves, I guess. Already they were giving it the send-off that it deserved, but the fact that they're sending it off with even more than people could have hoped for and dreamed of as far as what else it could add to this game that's not going to get an expansion is concerned is it's just something that's so rare. I'm not saying we've not seen other studios do it, CD Projekt has been really good about it, and No Man's Sky is, a highlight on that front, but the difference is that both of those games launched in a rough state and had to do all of that extra stuff to win back goodwill. Baldur's Gate 3 already had exceptional goodwill. They didn't have to do any of this stuff, especially some of those extra stuff that is just additional elements rather than fixes that would be, necessary. But the fact that they still decided to just take the game's reputation and take it to a whole other level just out of sheer love for D&D, for this game, for this universe, for the fans, and for the craftsmanship that is, game making, really cements Larian Studios as one of the best game development studios right now, not only in their prowess as developers and their immense talent and capabilities, but the mentality with which they approach game development, the intention behind the craftsmanship that they've shown here, and with leaders like Sven Vink at the head, who is not just a suit who wants to sell games to make money, but is someone who is a creative, a game developer who is equally passionate about like making games that he himself would want to play and that in turn the community would want to play, and that being sort of at the top and trickling down all the way to the bottom of this structure, this Larian Studios workforce. I mean, it paves a road to successes like these that are both huge financial successes, but also really will kind of cement themselves and engrave themselves in gaming history as one of the biggest highlights and one of the best things to ever happen to this art form. So just wanted to give a huge kudos to Larian Studios for being awesome, and Baldur's Gate 3 for going from a masterpiece to now an exceptional masterpiece, peaking beyond the peak, if you will. So just really happy to see that companies and games like these exist and show this level of goodwill that hopefully will inspire other developers in the future to pursue this kind of method and this kind of mentality when developing games. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Baldur's Gate 3, the current state of it, and all of the updates that have been coming out. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.